guys, it's me, Flare Bros, and I'm back with the next anatomy vid. At the end of the video, I had a poll for which muscle group you wanted me to cover next. Instagram won with pecs, and I think my YouTube poll won with deltoids. Then one of my followers on Instagram mentioned doing both. The deltoids overlap with a part of the pecs, so I thought, hey, what the heck, it's a good idea. Shout out to Illugens. Then I'll probably go down the arms and retreat back to the chest, and then move down from there. Since I'll be covering the pectoral muscles and the deltoids, I'll have to go a bit into the bones they connect to, the shoulder girdle, or the more dominant part of the clavicle. I actually went into the shoulder blade and clavicle study on an old Instagram post of mine, so to save myself some time and effort, I'm just going to pull that up. But first, the sternum. The sternum is a necktie-shaped bone in the middle of your rib cage where all the ribs connect to. It's separated into three parts: the manubrium, the main body, and the xiphoid process. The manubrium is shaped like a pentagon. And the clavicle connects to the top of it, leaving a small gap in between. Most commonly, you'll see the clavicles or collarbones simplified to handlebars. They'll go from the manubrium back to the acromion process in a sort of C or S shape. You might think they're fairly straight from front view, raising maybe just vertically to make that shape, but they actually do go back in space a little bit. So from the top, you'll see it looks like this, curving around the neck in a C, then a straight connecting to the acromion process, like a poorly made sickle. I keep mentioning the acromion process, so let's get into that. The shoulder blade is a triangle, with the top tilting inward towards the spine a bit. The spine of the scapula pulls out from the main body of the triangle, then winds around the back towards the side, peeking around to the front like a snake. It's what the muscles on the back, like the traps, connect to. The front of the spine is the acromion process, and this is what the clavicle attaches to. The attachment isn't actually, flush. There's this step down from one end of the clavicle onto the acromion. Comparing this to the rib cage, the connection happens towards a third of the way on the torso, towards the back. But the clavicle can pull forward, so this can stretch towards the middle of the rib cage as well. But the one major thing I want you to keep in mind with the whole shoulder girdle is this joint right. The clavicle actually lifts here, so if you lift your shoulder, it's going to tilt upwards. Now that we talked a bit about the shoulder bones, let's get into the muscles. First up, the pecs. When going into muscles, you have to understand its purpose. I mentioned in my simplifying anatomy video that there are always two or more groups of muscles that'll counteract each other. For example, the bicep raises the arm, but that's actually the only thing it can do. Relaxing it won't lower it. You need a muscle on the opposite side to reverse that action, which in the biceps cases are the triceps. Even the pectorals muscles alone have two or three parts of it that follow the same principle. Primarily, the pectoral muscles are in charge of raising the arm at the shoulder, bringing it back down to the body, and rotating it inward. The shape of the pecs can resemble a fan, fish, or even a trash bag. I recently looked at it myself, and it kind of reminded me of a trash bag with a paper box inside. Fan and fish idea is something Michael Hampton also talked about. There are 3 or 2 parts to the pecs, named after each part they connect to. The clavicular part, which connects along the middle half of the clavicle. The sternal part, which goes all the way down the side of the sternum, and the abdominal part, which goes along the front of the rib cage, and I think connects a bit to the abdominal muscles. If you watched my simplifying anatomy video, I talked about how the rib cage kinda looks like a bloated box with distinct sides but round. The pecs don't go onto the side of the box, so they just stick to the front. After that, they pull about a quarter way up the humerus. That's the arm bone. They actually overlap a little bit when relaxed, like the bottom of a fan or the twist at the top of a trash bag. But if you raise your arm up, those muscles will untwist or unfold and become just straight lines back to the sternum. The overlap is primarily the strip of the clavicular part over the sternocostal part. Speaking of form, you should remember that the pecs do have form to them, which is why I mentioned a trash bag with a paper box in it. A box that can deform to the pull of the arm raise, but have visible edges when relaxed. In terms of breasts, they obviously sit over top the pectorals, turned a bit outward at an obtuse 45-degree angle. They start towards the lower half of the pecs and stop at around the edge of the xiphoid process. Keep in mind they're made of tissue, having a weight of something like a water balloon, so they'll shift in shape along with the movement of the arms and the pectorals. Moving on to the next muscle group, the deltoids. There are 3 parts to the deltoid: the back, the middle, and the front. All 3 combined raise the arm away from the body. The back pulls the arm backward, the middle pulls the arm away from the torso, and the front pulls the arm forward. I believe they also help with the rotation of the arm on the sides. Shape-wise, the deltoid is an upside-down triangle, boxy at the top. You see this boxiness a lot more from above because of the shape of the bones they connect to. As I mentioned earlier, the deltoid is separated into 3 parts: the anterior, lateral, and the posterior. Put simply, the front, the middle, and the back. The front connects to the lateral third of the clavicle, right about here. The middle connects to the acromion process. The back connects along the bottom half of the spine of the scapula. The traps connect to the top of the scapula spine, so the 2 remain untouched. From these origin points, they stretch down to halfway down the arm. Since the pecs connect to quarter way down the arm and the deltoids go halfway down, the deltoids will cover the pecs' tail. Also, the pectoral muscles connect to the beginning part of the clavicle, and the deltoids connect to the lateral part here. This leaves a triangular gap here called the intraclavicular fossa. And that's about it. As always, I hope this was helpful. I think I'll be diving into the arm muscles in the next 2 videos, then back down to the abs and the legs. If you enjoyed this video, take a look at my others. I'm documenting and trying to teach what I learned through my art journey, and right now I'm starting an anatomy series, which is what this video is a part of. Wish you the best, and until then, see you next video.